Good morning, YouTube. So this job that I have keeps me traveling. I am always on the road, and I don't just travel with my personal things, my own luggage. I'm also traveling with a company laptop, tablet, phone, and tools. And the tools, it's a lot of stuff to travel with. It's I weighed it one day at the airport, and it's 147 pounds, all told, for all of their equipment. On top of my 50-pound bag and a couple of backpacks. So it's a lot of stuff to fly with. I'm talking quiet because it's early morning in this hotel here. I am driving from Southern California up to Portland, Oregon. Where did I park? Where did I park? I didn't park in my usual spot. There I am. There's a lot of pros and cons to being on the road 100% of the time. Big pro is my personal expenses. So they pay for me to have a place to stay, hotels or Airbnbs. They give me a company card to use for food and gas, stuff like that. And I don't have to have my own car. I don't have to have a place to live outside of where they put me up. I do have to have a U.S. address I can use for receiving mail and, where my driver's license is out of and all that. But I just use my mom's house. So my living expenses are extremely low. But the negatives are a lot of exhaustion and wear and tear on my body. You can probably tell behind me, this car is an absolute disaster right now. I didn't take the time to organize it very much before starting this road trip, but I've got about 150 pounds of tools in here. I've got my own personal luggage, a check-in bag if I'm flying, and a couple of backpacks, and then I've got a bunch of food and water and stuff like that in here. And normally the guys for this company fly with all that stuff. And it'll be, about $500 in baggage fees, which they pay. But trying to just get through the airport, even with a luggage cart with that much stuff, and then, if you got to take a shuttle bus to the rental car place, which you often do, then you're trying to get all this stuff onto one of their little vans, and then off the van, and then over to the check-in counter. That's a lot of weight. In total, I've probably got 220, 250 pounds of stuff to be lugging through the airport. And then there's also the problems of whether it's the company stuff or my own personal stuff getting damaged or lost by the airlines. Now, I put an air tag in everything to try to keep track of it. And so, if it does get lost, I should be able to track where it is, unless somebody, actually steals it, goes through and tosses the AirTag. But damage is the biggest issue I've had. And the airlines, they're notorious. Southwest Airlines, yes, I'm putting you on blast. Southwest Airlines, first flight out with brand new, really nice Osprey, I think it's called the Transporter bag. They punctured a hole in it. And to add insult to injury, they insisted that's normal wear and tear. They're not going to reimburse me. So this great waterproof bag is now no longer waterproof, no longer that nice. And it's because the airlines, they're careless, they're in a hurry, and they are terrible about accepting responsibility and taking care of their customers when they mistreat them. So I drive whenever I can, and so far the company's been great about giving me the time to get from place to place, driving instead of flying. I think in a lot of respects they prefer it because it saves them on those baggage fees, it saves them on lost tools, and I think just all around it costs a little less, unless we have a really tight schedule and they need to get me somewhere fast because I need to be at work the next day. So here I go. I'm driving this total trip will be 2 days, driving from Temecula, California to Redding, to a hotel for the night, and then second day from Redding up to Portland, Oregon, to go back to a site I was at a little earlier in the year. So that's what's going on. That was a lot of talking, wasn't it? A long intro. So sorry about that. Let's get into the road trip. Let me take you along for the ride. Here we go. So, in my opinion, driving really brings out the worst in people. And the thing about these long drives, like I'm going on now, is that it really allows those intrusive thoughts to start invading. What happens to me on these long drives is I start to really get overly annoyed and frustrated with other people. Starts out simple. Somebody going slow in the fast lane. Somebody driving for the last 10 miles with their blinker on, things like that. But it brings out a kind of dark voice in my head that I don't like. Attitudes towards other people that it's pretty negative, pretty aggressive and hostile, that I try to silence. I don't obviously act on that little voice in my head. I don't do anything about it. If I did, I would be a sociopath. But it is there. It is a part of who I am. It does influence my actions. And so that's something I'm working on, something I'm trying to keep in check, be more conscious of, be more aware of, and prevent that dark little voice in my head from causing me to be a jerk, because that's really what it is, like I caught myself at work. We're in a big group of guys learning some of the things that we need to do for the job, and it's very complicated stuff. If you don't really pay attention, you're gonna miss parts, you're gonna fall behind, and also some of it really requires a baseline of knowledge and just being smart. And not everyone gets it. Not everyone makes it. Not everyone is meant for this type of work. But I don't need to be cruel and say that out loud. So it's I caught myself doing this. I'm in this group of guys, and some guys are getting it, some guys aren't. And I just kind of make a joke about it and say, well, sometimes it's best for the herd to leave the slow behind, right? And that was a cruel thing for me to do, a cruel thing for me to say, and unnecessary. It's those kind of dark thoughts, but I am most aware of them, most conscious of them when I'm driving, because it's when they get the loudest. And I was driving one day a few weeks ago, and I always, because I'm a weirdo, I always talk to myself. Sometimes I make up little songs, and I'm not really conscious of doing it. When I'm doing it, I'll just be like humming along, and then soon there'll be lyrics to whatever it is I'm humming, and I'm just making up a song. And I found myself singing, I don't like people that drive, or people that don't drive, or people that don't know how to be alive, right? And that kind of sums up the tone of that dark voice that invades my head, invades my thoughts when I'm on these long drives. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think a lot of people suffer from this. I don't know how fully aware most people are of it. I don't know how many people really stop and listen to what that little internal voice is actually saying, and view it critically, like stop and take a listen and go, what kind of psychotic nonsense is going through my head just because somebody is going a couple miles slow in the fast lane, right? Like what nonsense is this? Now, there is one particular type of driver. yeah, I can do without. There is one particular type of driver that just drives me nuts on these long drives, and I'll give in to that dark voice with the people that they will, when there's no one in front of them, they'll drive a little slow. But when you try to pass, they can't have it, and they speed up to stop you from passing them. Or if you're cruising along and you're going at a good clip, maybe like I usually speed a little bit, and I'm going at a good clip, and somebody comes up fast behind me, they pass me, okay, fine, but don't slow down after you pass, right? I don't know what psychological disorder it is that causes people to need to be in front of people that are going faster than they want to go. I don't get it. So I can do without those people. I'm not going to give them a pass, but with the old man with his blinker on for no reason, or the person that is going above the speed limit but slower than the fastest of the traffic, and they're cruising in the fast lane, no big deal. Or the truck drivers that are, they're out there doing this every day. They're driving professionally, and they should be in the slow lane, but one of them pops over in the fast lane to pass an even slower truck. Yeah, it'll create a big traffic jam. It annoys me, but I can quiet that voice. I can get over it. I can control how I feel about those people and not wish death upon them, right? But yeah, I become really aware of those thoughts when I'm on one of these drives, and starting to mature a little bit and view it as a growth opportunity. It is an opportunity to become a better person by learning to recognize that dark voice that creeps into my head is a jerk and shouldn't be listened to at all. All right, pulling out of the Oxford Suites and Hotel, I believe this place is called, and heading to Portland, Oregon today. Map says 6.5 hours, but with Portland traffic, even on Sundays, man, Portland, I swear, it has, the road crews in Portland have dedicated themselves to providing a habitat for traffic cones everywhere. Laid out on projects where they're not working because it's the weekend, but they leave them out. And so even on Sundays, traffic can be pretty bad getting in and out of Portland. And I got to drive right through it to get to where my Airbnb is. So 6.5 hours, probably realistically 7. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'll be there. Road trip almost over. Alright, so I'm like 20 miles outside of the city of Portland. It is Sunday afternoon. Should be a pretty light traffic time, but I-5 is at a standstill here, and this is like the 4th or 5th time this has happened. Just out in the middle of nowhere, in places where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And we'll see what this one's caused by, but none of these so far had any logical reason for the traffic jam. I think all of them were caused by impatient drivers, a bunch of people tailgating each other, one person merging where maybe there wasn't enough room, causing everyone to slam on their brakes, and creating a chain reaction that caused I-5 to come to a screeching halt, everyone going from like 75, 80 miles an hour in tight traffic in the rain to a stop. It's shitty. It's dangerous is what it is. And this has just in general been one of the more miserable drives. So this Jeep has adaptive cruise control, which is great. I love adaptive cruise control. It allows you to be a lot more relaxed while you're driving. And I use it a lot. But there is one problem with it that I'm noticing, and that is how other people react to it. So adaptive cruise control will, like, you set it, say I set it at 75 and I'm cruising down the highway. Well, if traffic backs up in front of me, if traffic slows down, my vehicle will slow down equally to maintain its following distance. So it maintains a safe distance. Great in theory, except it does not account for what the person behind me is doing. And there have been multiple occasions where the person behind me has reacted as though they believe that they got brake checked. Maybe they couldn't see what was happening in front of them, or just were not aware enough to understand how traffic works. But this particular drive, there is a little Dodge that was, he was tailgating me, and the traffic in front of me slowed down pretty abruptly. When my vehicle slowed down, this guy flipped his shit, slammed into the other lane, got up next to me, and then just pushed me out of my lane, right? Like, I chose not to hold my ground and get in a wreck because he clearly had lost his mind. And there have been 3 instances of that sort of thing happening. I think adaptive cruise control confuses other people. And when you're in control, if the traffic in front of you is slowing down fast and you have to hit your brakes, you are probably aware of what the person behind you is doing. And if you've got somebody behaving badly behind you, somebody that is tailgating, or maybe you've already seen them road raging on people, you may not maintain your following distance and be a little easier on your brakes to avoid having a problem with them. And of course, adaptive cruise control is not smart enough to do that. Man, driving really, really brings out the worst in people. It does. It brings out the worst in people.